Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult, video number 306, my own Ouroboros symbol explained. Now, a lot of people have asked this question, specifically what my personal symbol actually represents. And of course my symbol is an Ouroboros with the rising moon in the middle of it. And then usually stylized with wings, and I've used various designs for that over time. That's just stylistic. That is more on the aesthetic side. I thought it looked good, number one. It looked better if I put it on the side of the barcode underneath the back cover description on my paperback releases because it's wider. And so that's more stylistic. So that's nothing to read into much. But the main symbol actually dates back, ironically, to when I was more of a Christian. And it's just something that I sort of began to use. And I started using it online, if I remember correctly, like 2011 or thereabouts. I used variants of the Ouroboros before, but that particular one that I myself sort of designed and began using dates to a little bit later. Now, the Ouroboros, generally speaking, represents in many paths. It's a symbol of creation. It's a symbol of completion. It can be the completion of man, the completion of an alchemical recipe. It can be used in that metaphor. Also, usually the wings, more dragon-esque in many of those, as opposed to more specifically a serpent. It can be used to represent the passage of time, and the basic idea is the use of force or of vigor, of power, etc., completing something, completion. The moon initially was actually red. This was many years ago. And it was a symbol of the blood moon. Now, this had nothing to do with, like, the blood moon tetrad and stuff, but it did have something to do with the basic underlying concept of why those things would be of import, which is that anytime you have a mass action sort of consciousness, an awareness of something happening, even if it's total bullshit, like, oh, the end of the world is coming, so 100,000 people get together on a hill, there's an energy there, even if what they're trying to go there to witness is not going to happen. When this happens, Y2K, 9/11, Katrina, COVID, all of these other things, astronomical alignments. Initially, it was mainly about that. End times prophecies, spooky stories, the time of year, holidays, rock concerts, political get-togethers. They all have an energy about them. This collective psychological energy goes further and is capable in many cases of doing more work than other forms of energy. It can literally shape culture because it has to do with human consciousness. Those that are interested in the use of human consciousness through various means can use this power, this energy, to accomplish things. Many of them, unfortunately, do it only for personal ends or for malevolent reasons, for screwing a population and getting them to adopt globalism, for example. This happens quite routinely in Western politics, or getting them to institute communism or fascism or something like that. Of course, you've had people allude to Hitler before, and the fact that basically the way in which he organized political events is basically a prototypical rock concert of sorts. That was for a reason. It was propaganda, as a form of energy building, and they believed in it more literally as real, or under various other terms. By the way, actually there are pre-existing terms like eighth, or eighth, depends on who you ask. Rosicrucians and other groups had talked about it. The NSDAP actually appears to have adapted the basic concept and Germanified it much later. That being said, that's my main symbol. So in the center you have what initially was red, which is the blood moon, the symbol of these sort of mimetic events. And then you have the use of that, the force, through the moving of time, through the use of effort, through completion, with the Ouroboros. And that's basically the two-part meaning. Now, it's interesting, because that basic same concept I heard talked about by a man called Osho. He's from, I can't remember exactly what the name of the sect was that he was part of. He's been dead for several decades. But they upload all of his stuff to YouTube from when he used to make speeches and on various things. And it was funny because years ago I wrote a booklet called Emotional Alchemy, and it was about the concept of transferring negative energy, using the negative energy to spur on ambition or to do something positive. You're feeling down, so you work harder to forget about how down you are. That energy is burned off. The negativity is burned off. It's funny because I was watching literally like a week ago a statement by Osho. I can't remember the exact question. And he said verbatim some of the same exact things that I had said in that booklet. He goes further and elaborates on it in a different way. I just wanted to limit it to the use of negativity to achieve things, to turn it into something productive for yourself for ambitious purposes. He goes further, but I was struck by the synchronicity there because when I wrote the booklet, I didn't even know who Osho was. So I tend to agree generally with at least the first part of that particular statement by him. Again, although he goes a bit further off into different subjects. So yeah, there's a little bit about my particular symbol. It's essentially mimetic in form, has been, and initially was slightly different and a bit less refined. Of course, I had the artist Rita Metzner, who I normally work with for my illustrations and books. She actually designed the completed high-definition logo for me. That's about all. Peace out.